Hello kids, this is Pastor Matt Fisher coming to you today for a children's lesson video. We might call this Sunday Fun Day. We're going to have a vote to see if that's a good title, because I'll be honest, I've thought about titles and that was one we thought of. So Sunday Fun Day might be what this is called for our lessons, but let's actually get to the lesson part. We're going to talk about heaven. There's a passage in John 14 where Jesus talks about heaven, and he describes it in a way that might seem familiar to you. He kind of speaks about it as it being a hotel. And here is this passage from John 14. I want you to think about heaven. What does heaven mean to you? When I say heaven, when your parents say heaven, what is heaven? Well, maybe we can answer that question today. John 14 is where Jesus says this in John 14:1. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go and prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am you may be also. And you know the way where I am going. Now here's what one of Jesus' disciples, his name was Thomas, he asked him a question and said, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? And Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So, Jesus is about ready to leave his disciples. He's had these disciples with him for many years, and they've come to know him and love him, and he's come to know them and love them in return. Now Jesus is going to finish his ministry by going to the cross and dying. And they are distressed that Jesus will leave them. That's why Jesus said, do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe God, believe also in me. So he's warning them that they're going to be tempted to be nervous or scared. And so maybe you felt that when you were in your room late at night, maybe with the lights out or the very small night light on, and your mom and dad weren't around, and maybe you had a bad dream, or maybe you're just by yourself in your room and you're scared because you're all alone. Well, Jesus was telling his disciples to not be scared like that, because where they were going to go, that is after they died, was to be with the Lord. Now this is what's amazing. This is how Jesus describes that place called heaven, where you go to be with the Lord after you die. He said, in my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? So Jesus said that in his Father's house there are lots and lots of rooms. It's a very big house. It's a massive mansion. And in there, with all those separate rooms, represents all the different areas for other people to live. And that's the image that Jesus gives of heaven. Heaven is like a really big hotel. And what's amazing is that Jesus said that he was going to go there to prepare rooms for them. So it's almost like we're guests in his house, and Jesus is the Son, and God the Father is the Father. And he's going to prepare lots of bedrooms for you. Maybe you've been to your friend's house before for a slumber party, or you've stayed the night over at someone's house where they had a sleeping bag or a separate bed for you. That's really what Jesus is talking about. He's talking about actually preparing room for guests, that you'd be guests in his Father's house. And that's what he calls heaven. So now, I want you to look at this. This is a somewhat okay, not that blurry image of a hotel. But it's not just any hotel. So this hotel is called the First World Hotel. And it's in Malaysia, in the east, in Asia. And what's so unique about this hotel, other than the fact that it's colorful, and this is actually the outside walls of this hotel, and you can see how they colored them in a rainbow type color. And it's really beautiful that way. It makes it really unique. But the other thing that makes this hotel very unique is that it's the largest hotel in the world. So this hotel has 7,351 rooms. That's amazing. Think about that. 7,351 rooms. so that anyone who walks in the hotel can go into any one of these rooms and say they're in the largest hotel in the world. So I want you to think of what Jesus describes as heaven as being a very large hotel in which everybody that's in the family of God is there. It's a place where you're able to see one another, and there's, an image of a hotel would be a very large ballroom in the basement or in the lower floors where everyone can gather and have big parties and lots of fun and everything's happy because Jesus Christ himself is in that hotel. He's in that place with you. And so when we try to image a little bit of what heaven could be like for us, we call it a vacation. So going on vacation is when you get away and you're free to be around friends and family for an extended period of time. And usually when you do that, you end up living in the same area together. You might go to a hotel or might share a house on the beach or something where you can actually live together and be in each other's presence and company. And the joy that comes from that is a little bit of an image of what the joy of heaven could be like. And so that's actually the image that Jesus Christ gives us. Think about heaven as a very large hotel surrounded by loved ones and surrounded by Jesus Christ himself. Until then, we'll talk again next Sunday.